All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are tackling a huge one, humanity's age-old quest for a longer, healthier life. But here's the twist. We're going to look at how two totally different worlds, I'm talking hard science and deep spirituality, are, believe it or not, starting to say the exact same thing.
You know, for pretty much all of history, you've had two very different camps obsessed with longevity: the mystics and the scientists. The mystics see it as this spiritual journey, something that requires faith. Meanwhile, the scientists see it as a biological puzzle to be solved, something to be controlled. So what if these two paths are actually converging on the exact same spot? All right, let's kick things off with the science, because what it's telling us now is pretty mind-blowing. Our biology, it's way more flexible than we ever imagined. Take Harvard researcher Dr. David Sinclair. He's one of the big names pushing this new way of thinking. He basically says, hey, aging isn't this inevitable countdown we just have to accept. He frames it as a condition, a disease even, that we can actually address and treat. And one of the coolest, most powerful ideas behind all this is epigenetics. Now, this isn't some sci-fi movie where you change your actual DNA. Nope. It's all about which genes get expressed. Think of your lifestyle, what you eat, how you feel, where you live, as a giant switchboard, literally flipping certain genes on and others off. And to make this even clearer, check out what cell biologist Bruce Lipton says. He's got this awesome model where he says the real brain of the cell isn't the nucleus, it's the membrane, the outer skin. It's constantly reading signals from its environment. And you know what those signals are? They're the chemical vibes created by our thoughts and beliefs. That information is what programs the cell's behavior. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's huge. Your genetic code isn't some fixed blueprint you're stuck with for life. No way! It's more like a dynamic program. And the best part? You're not just a passenger. You're an active participant. You can influence the system. Okay, so if our biology is programmable, who or what is writing the code? Well, the answer might be closer than you think. It's all happening in the mind. Get ready for this number, because it's a big one. According to the source material, a whopping 95% of our day is not run by our conscious mind. It's run by our subconscious programs. Just let that sink in. The vast majority of your life, from your little habits to your overall health, is basically on autopilot. And this is where the work of someone like Dr. Joe Dispenza is so fascinating. He shows that our thoughts and feelings, they aren't just these fuzzy, abstract things floating around in our heads. Oh no, they are the primary programmers. Every single second, they are creating a very real, very tangible chemical reality inside our bodies. Think about it like this. You have a stressful thought, right? Boom, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which over time can really damage your cells. But on the flip side, cultivating positive emotions can trigger awesome hormones like oxytocin, which then activates genes for well-being. This is literally neuroplasticity in action. With practices like meditation, you can physically rewire your brain and totally change your body's chemistry. Okay, this brings us to the really fun part, the how-to. If we're the programmers of our own biology, what tools can we actually use to write some better code? Well, what's so incredible is that the source material lays out this toolkit that perfectly blends cutting-edge science with timeless ancient wisdom. And when you see them side by side, the overlap is just impossible to ignore. Okay, so from the science side, we've got Dr. Sinclair's core principles, and they really work together like a system. You start with a healthy diet and some intermittent fasting. Then you amplify that with regular exercise. But you gotta balance those physical stressors, right? So that's where crucial mental practices like stress management come in. And then you can even boost the whole system with things like cold therapy for extra resilience. It's a whole package.
And now, look at this. When we pivot to ancient wisdom, like from the blue zones, those places where people live extraordinarily long lives, the advice is, wow, it's shockingly similar. You see that same plant-based diet, but you also get these crucial ideas like having a purpose, what the Japanese call ikigai, and simple, brilliant rules like eating only until you're 80% full. You can't deny the connection.
And this table just nails it. It really shows you the convergence in black and white. You take a Taoist approach to life, this mindset of curiosity, not setting limits for yourself, mindful movement like Tai Chi, and it perfectly mirrors what modern science is now telling us is the key to a long, healthy life. The words might be different, but the core wisdom, it's identical. And maybe the most important piece of advice for managing stress, which is a huge factor for both scientists and mystics, comes from a pretty unexpected source. But hey, he's not wrong. It's a great reminder that having a sense of humor and some perspective, those are powerful longevity tools. Okay, so we've combined these two paths. We've talked about programming our biology, we've talked about ancient wisdom, but where does this journey of self-discovery actually lead? What's the final destination? The deepest insight here seems to be that all this inner work, it doesn't matter if you get there through a microscope or through meditation, it connects you to something so much bigger than yourself.
And I think the final realization is this. When you start to understand the immense power inside your own biology, inside your own consciousness, you begin to see that you aren't separate from the universe at all. You're a microcosm of it. You are literally a living, breathing expression of the same intelligence that animates, well, everything.
So in the end, this whole quest for longevity, it's not really about just adding more years to your life. It's about discovering the infinite life and the entire universe that is already right here inside you. It's about waking up to the incredible potential you already have. So the real question isn't how long you can live. It's what could you unlock if you started exploring the universe within.